Hello everyone, welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. So I'm getting ready to do one of the into resin molds today. This one is called Rose Ornament Cover. This has a rose built into it. It's just basically a little statuette thing. And I know I have a little light that goes on. I want to see if I could find that. So I'm thinking the best way to do this one, it's going to be clearly. I've got to get this bubble free. But I was wondering, do I paint this first with Chameleon powders or after? And I'm choosing after. So what I'm going to do is just pour it with clear, let it cure, flip it over when it's done, do my tack it method inside, and then I will use this green. This is from Into Resin as well. And I'm still deciding what to put in the rose part. So this is going to be kind of simple, I think. I don't know. We're going to find out. See how easy it is. And then I have to make a hippo today. This has been ordered. So she wanted super duper crystallized and white looking. So I'm going to put a ton of my crushed crystal into this little hippo, and we're going to jazz him up when he comes out. So let me just get some resin mix. This one's going to be fairly simple today. I mixed up 8 ounces, but I'm thinking it's way too much now. I'm thinking this one holds 4. So what I did was I split it 4 and 4 just so I know and I can tell you how much it holds. Just draining that right there. And I don't want any bubbles, so I'm gonna pour this pretty slowly so I don't incorporate any more bubbles. I have a stick ready to go around any edges. So I'm just gonna like study this thing and make sure there's not one bubble anywhere. And then I will cover it when I'm done, just make sure nothing floats into it, which something's in there already. Right there, there's a bubble. If there's gonna be any, it's gonna be around the rose and around the edges. There's one right there. And I just want to go, it's not full yet. I'm just not wanting to go down really, really deep. There's a few coming out down here at the base. And this is not a thick resin. That's why I chose it. It doesn't cure fast, but it's not thick. So I'd rather it go in like water than worry about curing quickly. All right, so far so good. Don't torch your handmade molds like this either. You will ruin them. That is 4 ounces exactly. And it's just barely domed. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that, and I will put this last tiny bit, which means I will have 2 extra ounces today. Wonderful. That means extras. I know everybody hates extras, but that's okay. You'll learn to like them eventually. Let's see, I'm just gonna torch my top because this is going to be the front, because that's going to be the back. I have one little black something. Got it. This will be, oh my gosh, there's a piece of glitter down there. Got to be kidding me. It's almost impossible. All right. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I mean, bubbles aren't gonna just come out of nowhere, but I'm gonna just check it while I'm working on this stuff. And I'm gonna put that sprinkle dust in away from this so I don't get any in here. There's a tiny little piece of something in there, little tiny black speck. Okay. I'm just going to take this spatula and hopefully move it very carefully to the other side of my room, because I have a feeling like everything else that I do is going to fall into this. So if you have a big, huge spatula, it's great to move your molds. Hang on, guys, I'll be right there. And I just left it on the spatula, so I'm just going to cover it up and then we'll begin this. All right, that one is safe and sound. So I know this holds 2 ounces, so I'm just going to pour 2 ounces back in here so I don't pour the entire thing crushed crystal. All right, that's 2 ounces. And we're going to just douse it. I mean, when I say douse it, it's really not a lot, but it's a lot for this kind of glitter. I'm going to, let's try 1 scoop first. She wanted a lot of sparkle and she wanted white, and she couldn't remember what I used in one of my videos, and now I don't know where the hippo is, so I don't know what she was talking about. So after explaining it, this looks exactly like what she's looking for. It looks white and it's like all sparkle. It's gorgeous. And I think what I'm going to do, because this stuff tends to fall, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add more, and I'm going to add a drop, 2 drops of glue, and pray it gets down in the ears of my little hippo, because when you add glue, it's very difficult for that thick, gluey resin to get into ears and tails and feet and things like that. So Elmer's glue thickens up your resin and it suspends glitter. If you're new to resin, 1 drop per ounce is what I find works. And you will see the consistency change very quickly into like a thick goo. And it's like really gel-like, like that. So I'm going to spray my mold. I'm going to just pour a tiny bit in because I want to make sure it gets into those 2 ears. Those 2 ears are the only things I worry about when I use glue on this particular mold. If it's my elk mold, then I worry about the eyes, which some people think are ears, but I think they're eyes for a cartoon. Not sure, but I color them in as eyes. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and finish pouring this. And it kind of like goes out in one piece because it's so gooey. And it holds exactly 2 ounces. Nice and domed. So the fun part on this one is going to be when we embellish it out of the mold. All right, that's good. That is perfectly domed. I'm just going to spray some bubbles. And we're going to set this aside, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with 2 ounces. Do I make another elk is the question. Or, let me think about this. So I think what I'm going to do, I have these new pigments, opaque pigments from Let's Resin. All of these. I've used 2 so far in the blue. I'm going to make my little elk in pink, and we're going to see how he turns out. Now, I liked the antlers in brown, so I'm going to use my brown mica powder, and I put a tiny little bit of resin in here for the antlers. Let's hope. Let me do the pink first. Let me see if I need any more resin. I just squeeze it in. It takes more than a couple drops to get this opaque, so I just gotta put a good squeeze, and it is getting warm because I'm taking too long to do it. Oh, this is lighter than I wanted. So in the bottle, it looks so pink. So let me just keep squeezing. I kind of wanted that bottle color, but I don't know that I'm gonna get it. I think I'm gonna end up with a light pink. I don't know how much to add to get the color in the bottle. I mean, it's already opaque. It's just lighter than I expected. Which is weird because the blues came out correct on my bathtub and my little stacking jar, which I still have to get back to those stacking jars. All right, well, that's what I'm gonna get out of it. So I'm just gonna spray my mold. And you're gonna get a bonus elk dressed up somehow. We'll see. I'm just gonna poke down in his, I call them eyes. Some people call them ears, but I think they're cute as eyes. And then finish filling him up, and then I'll do the antlers. As long as I have enough here in pink, which I almost don't. Ah, perfect. See what happens when you scrape your cup? It always works out. That was the perfect amount, almost too much. All right, we're gonna set him aside. Now I can mix up my brown. Whoops, not that much. You only need a tiny bit for a tiny bit of resin. And then we wait. That's the hardest part of this craft. I'm sure you will all agree. That's why I have 2 heat mats, because I don't like to wait. I'm just gonna mix this up really, really, really good. I don't want any powder falling. All right, I'm gonna spray my mold a little bit and pour this in and wait. I do put these little guys on eBay now because they take me so much time to make. I don't give them away anymore. It's like over an hour of my time here, and all the materials that I put into them, I was giving them away for the longest time. And then I realized some people might actually want them. So I decided to put them on eBay now. All right, see you in a bit. It's time to unmold, you guys. Everything's done. It's been a few hours. I did have the heat mat on for a couple hours. Everything's cooled down already. Here's the antlers. That's the easiest to get out. Let's do the hardest last. So let's do this first and see what we're dealing with on the other side. I don't see any bubbles, which is amazing. All right, so there is the opening. I see one flaw on the back, but I don't think you could see it from the front. Nope. It looks absolutely crystal clear. There is a lip around this. That's one thing I don't like about that being the front. I'm sure you could top coat, or you definitely have to dome it much better. I'll have to think about how to fix that. Oh, I didn't want to have to top coat anything. That's the only bad thing about that being the top. So, all right, I'm going to, oh man, there were 3 bubbles. There's 3 bubbles right around that little piece of stem, or whatever you call that part of the flower, right at the bottom. Can you see them? Super sad about that. I did not see them in there. Oh well, what are you gonna do? All right, let's get these undone. This one is pretty simple to pop out. Let's hope his ears came out because of the glue. Oh good, they did. Got some trimming to do underneath his chin, but that is white and super sparkly, so I think that's what she wanted. So we're gonna finish this off. She wants purple accents, purple rhinestones, and some flowers on him, which I have tiny little flowers which came just in time. So we're gonna get this little guy all done up. This one, the easiest way is to spray alcohol in there and get it all rubbed around. I'm super bummed about that 3 little bubbles. There's really no way to hide them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going to fill it with the tack it glue, paint on what I'm going to paint on, and then we're going to back that in black resin, which is probably like 1/4 ounce of resin. Just enough to fill it up and get those colors to pop. Even though I don't know which colors I'm using yet for the rose. I haven't thought about it since I walked away. I want to get these guys out though. All right. Now, isn't he cute? That's a really pretty pink, actually. Here's the antlers. I'm going to glue them on. Came out really nice. Couple bubbles on the bottom because you barely see them because they blend right in perfectly. I'll trim them up. All right, so what am I going to do? I know I'm going to use the green that I pulled out. Where did I put it? This green here. Which first I want to put tack it glue. I got a tiny little brush ready. I'm just going to squeeze a tiny little bit of glue in. Get it brushed all over the flower without coming out. And then let it dry. And then you could put in any powder that you want. This is such a small opening. I really don't know how much resin it's going to take. Hardly anything at all. So I think I'm going to try to just mix up like 1/2 ounce so I don't have a ton of extras. I already have 2 little animals that I have to finish, and those are going to take forever. So I don't want any more extras today if it's at all possible. So I grabbed a tiny little brush because I really don't want to get it on anything except the stem and the flower. Which looks like it's working out well. I'm sure it'll rub off. I just didn't want to have to start cleaning the resin and maybe... I'm so bummed about those 3 little, right there, 1, 2, 3. 3 little bubbles that ruined it. All right, so I'm going to just set this aside. Let that dry. I'll know it's dry when it's clear again. And then we will pick some powders to go in there. I'm just going to go wash out my brush, and then we'll be back with these guys. I remember somebody in the comments not too long ago asked what I do because she doesn't like the way her trimmings look on pieces. And I said, well, if I trim something and I'm selling it, what I do, like on both of these, I trimmed the bottoms and you can clearly see the trim marks, which do not look nice, even though it's the bottom. But if I'm selling it, I take my resin. This one is my high viscosity because that's what's sitting here. And I give it a nice, even, thin coat along the whole bottom, and I just fill it all in and give it a nice fresh coat of resin, cover up all those marks. I'll just take my little scribe and go to the edge. I'll get all those little trimming pieces covered as if they were never there, and then cure it and start after that. So I'm just going to do that to this one and to the little elk. Get all those little pieces covered. High viscosity is probably the easiest because especially if you're new to resin, it really won't go over your edge. But after you get practice, you don't need to use high viscosity. You can use the clear hard type or whatever, whichever kind you want. And then I'm just going to take a lighter, pop the bubbles, make sure I don't need any more. Might need one more drop, but then you have a nice finished bottom, even though it's the bottom. But if you're taking things to fairs and things, people like to pick things up and look at everything and make their decision on what they're going to do from there. So that's why I do these, because you know if somebody's buying something, they're definitely going to check it all out. So I'm just going to hold this under the light for a couple minutes. But then I'll do the other one, and then we'll start getting them all finished. that was super fun. I absolutely love doing these guys. So here is the little elk. And she's got her little diamond necklace on. She picked pink for her toenails this week. She was feeling a little frisky. She's got a little butterfly on her nose, and she's cross-eyed trying to look at it. And then I got these little tiny bows. So she's got a couple bows on her antlers and a couple more rhinestones. Of course, her eyelashes. I don't know if you could see them back here. There's eyelashes on her eyes. There you go. There's a side view. Long, beautiful eyelashes, and then a double bow on her little bum. So she is all ready to go. She will be on eBay, whoever falls in love with her first. And this one is for Deborah. She requested purple rhinestones and flowers if I had them, and I had both. And I added a little butterfly on his nose too, her nose, sorry, purple. So since I had purple, I put it on there. And purple rhinestones for the toenails. So I put a little, like, she wanted like a crown made out of flowers if I could, but there's just not enough space on her head for a crown. So instead I just crowned her little ears with a couple little flowers in pink and purple, and then rhinestones, of course. And then she wanted a bow on the back, so I put a bow and a little flower on the back. So Deborah, I hope you like it. I hope it's everything you thought it would be. I hope the sparkle is good. Of course, it's going to be way better in person. I promise you that. All right, it's been a while, so let's get to this. Now, this is completely dry, completely clear, and it's time to fill it in. So I chose this green like I showed you. This one is from Into Resin. It's a intense chameleon powder. So I'm just going to take this tiny little brush and try my hardest not to get it into the rose, because whatever gets on there first is what's sticking. If it gets on the resin, it's no big deal. Maybe I'll start from here so I don't have to be so... Oh gosh, I just realized I'm going to have to tape that up in order to fill it with black resin. I wonder if you even need to fill it with resin. We're going to see what it looks like after I put this on there. I wonder if I don't need to fill it with anything. Let's hope. We won't flip it over until it's done. We'll save that as a surprise. Maybe it'll be a great surprise. Because it doesn't really matter what you back intense chameleon powders with. They're going to be the same color on the opposite side. So maybe I don't have to back it with anything. Which means I should pick an intense color for the rose, because I did not pick an intense color for the rose, but I think I'm going to now. All right. I think I got the sides. All right, let me find an intense color. I just picked a regular chameleon powder, but I don't think I want to do that. Let me see what I have here. I got a new batch in. Let me see if they have something that would resemble a rose. What is this color? Galaxy. Everybody loves Galaxy. Dark green. Deep blue. Dark magenta, possibly. And fairy green. Let's see what the magenta looks like. Ooh, what do you think? This is the one I was gonna put on it. But this is not intense, but this one is. So I'm just gonna use my little switching sponge. Oh, that's not even the brush that I want to use. This is it. The one I used the green on. Get all the green out of there. And let's back it. I spilled a little on the desk. I still haven't figured out what to do with the front because of that lip on there. I'm not happy about. Let's see. I have not used this color in resin yet. And that Tack It glue, it does a wonderful job. when you don't catch your resin tacky, that does it for you, so you don't have to worry about timing or anything when you use that stuff. All right, it's on everywhere. Are we ready to see if we have to do anything? Well, yeah, I think we need to fill it in, because without my hand there, it's not quite as intense. So this magenta, I see tones of green, which actually don't look too bad. I'm going to wipe off the resin that I got it on. Let me just use, hang on a minute. Try not to use paper towels and stuff on your resin because it could scratch it, leave swirl marks, and I'm trying to keep this piece particularly clean from any of that. Maybe I'll wait until it's completely done. Oh, that works too. My finger works better than the rag. I think I will mix up a 1/2 ounce of black resin, pour that in here. Sorry guys, trying to get all the extra out. And let's see what it looks like. I want to show you what it looks like backed in black anyway, so I guess I should have just done it in the first place. I just want to get all that extra powder off. All right. I'll fill it and cure it and figure out what I'm going to do on the front. I'll get it all completely done and then we'll come back. You really don't need to see me pour a little bit of black resin. You know how to do that. So I'll be back on the final reveal. All right, it's finished. It's done. I mixed up like 1/2 ounce of black resin last night, and it only took like 1/4 ounce. So I had to prop up this side because it's at a slant and it would have just drained out. So you had to get it level, and I did tape up this side because this kind of drains right down the side. It didn't because it was still a little bit tilted, just a little bit. So that is completely done. And to finish it off, I did scrape this whole edge off with my knife because it was sharp and I didn't want to top coat it. So I decided to take some purple rhinestones because this ended up coming purple more than it came out. Let me see if I can get something white behind here. More than it came out the red in the bottle. So it's purple with tones of green in it. So I decided to grab purple rhinestones and just go around this whole edge that had to be trimmed. Now, I'm sure if you domed it better than I did, maybe you wouldn't have to trim anything. But I didn't want to see a trimmed edge. I didn't want to top coat it because it's crystal clear. There's like no bubbles in this thing except those couple on the little stem part. But you really don't notice them once it's finished. But that is it. 4 ounces and it's beautiful. I looked for the little light thing, the little light base. I know I have them. I don't know where I put them. They're in a safe place, I guess. But that's something you could put underneath it to light it up at nighttime. And it just stands up like this. My rhinestones are still a little bit wet, but it's just gonna stand up like that. So it's just something to look at. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. And yeah, I'll get you guys some final pictures. And I will see you all tomorrow. We'll do something else fun. All right, guys, you have a blessed night. Bye.